Good evening. I would like to call to order the budget public hearing for. Good evening. I would like to call to order the July 26, 2022 budget public hearing. For the record, may the record reflect that all school board members, superintendent, board attorney, and school board clerk are present. And I will turn it over to you, Superintendent.
Thank you, board members. In getting
Excuse
started
me.
today, we'll have
Excuse
Mr.
me,
Cease, our
Superintendent Beeman, just a point of order. May we please have everyone in the assembly find their seats? Thank you.
we will have Mr. Cease, our CFO, outline and go through our proposed millage rates and tentative budget for 22-23. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. And Jill, can you hear me okay? Yes, I can. Okay, great. This is the first public hearing on the proposed millage rates and tentative budget for the fiscal year 2022-23. Tonight's public hearing on the tentative budget will include an overview regarding the proposed millage and budget. There will be an opportunity for public and board member comment.
Mr. Cease, I'm sorry. We're having trouble hearing down at this end of the dais, so I don't know if we can clear. Yeah, please, thank you.
Okay. I'll speak more down. Tonight's, is that better? Okay, great. Tonight's public hearing on the tentative budget will include an overview regarding the proposed millage and budget. There will be an opportunity for public and board member comment. We will request that you adopt a resolution setting the proposed total millage levy to support the 2022-23 tentative budget. We also request that you adopt a resolutions approving the 2022-23 tentative budget as presented. We will request authorization for the superintendents and staff to perform all necessary actions to comply with the truth and millage requirements. And lastly, we'll announce the date of the final public hearing to adopt the 2022-23 budget. So let me start by explaining what is a TRIM. Truth in millage legislation was enacted in 1980, and the requirements are detailed under section 200.065 Florida statutes. The statutes dictate the form, size, and placement of the budget advertisement, as well as the order of business during the budget hearing. TRIM requires 2 public hearings for open discussion of the millage and proposed budget of all taxing authorities. So what is a mill? A property tax levy of $1 per $1,000 of taxable property value. So 1 mill actually equals 0.001, or 100,000 times 0.001 gives you $100 of levy. The Florida Education Finance Program is a mechanism by which the state and local funds are allocated to school districts. The Florida legislature sets the required local effort millage and the prior period funding adjustment millage rates that must be levied by the school board. The school board must levy the required local effort millage and prior period funding adjustment millage in order to receive any state funding under the Florida Education Finance Program. The total proposed millage related to school funding for the 2022-23 school year is 5.460 mils. The millage will generate revenue for the general operating and capital outlay funds. And as previously mentioned, the millage rates are determined by the Florida legislature, and this is the maximum millage that the school board is allowed to levy without a specific voter-approved referendum. The district must levy the required local effort and prior period funding adjustment to receive approximately $300.4 million in state FEFP funding. In addition, we must levy the full basic discretionary millage to receive $14.5 million in compression funding from the state. The proposed total millage rate related to school funding of 5.460 mils represents a decrease of 0.365 mils when compared to the prior 2021-22 school year rate. As required by TRIM, we must compare the proposed millage rate to the rollback rate. The rollback rate is the millage rate that would generate the same amount of revenue as last year if applied to the current year's adjusted taxable value. Under TRIM, the rollback rate is the basis for determining if tax rates have increased or decreased. This slide compares the proposed millage rates to the rollback rates. The current state law rollback rate is 3.160 mils. The current proposed state law millage rate for the 2022-23 school year is 3.212 mils. The proposed rate is a 1.65% more than the rollback rate. So the proposed rate is 1.65% more than the rollback rate. The rollback rate for the total millage is 5.146. The proposed total millage rate is 5.460 mils. The proposed total rate is 6.1% more than the rollback rate. This was advertised as a notice of tax increase in the Sunday's paper on July 24th, 2022. The Seminole County School Board total amount of tax dollars levied will increase by $20.7 million for school-related taxes in the 2022-23 school year as compared to the prior year. While the millage rate is decreasing, the total millage is increasing by 8.21% over the prior year. So how are property taxes calculated? The taxable value of a homeowner's property equals the assessed value as determined by the Seminole County Property Appraiser's Office, less $25,000 homestead exemption if applicable. The homestead exemption is an amount that is exempt from ad valorem taxes. The amount is established by law for properties used as owner's primary residence, and it's normally the $25,000. The proportion of the property tax related to school funding equals the taxable value divided by 1,000 times the school district millage rate. Therefore, in this example, a homeowner with an assessed value of $200,000 with a homestead exemption will pay $955.50 of school-related ad valorem tax to Seminole County. So how will this impact the individual taxpayers in Seminole County? This slide illustrates the changes in school-related property taxes for a Seminole County homeowner over the last several years. In this example, a home valued at $200,000 in 2018 would have generated roughly $1,104.78 in school-related property tax. If the owner qualified for Save Our Homes by the 2022-23 school year, the assessed value of that same home would be $217,748. Based on this valuation, the school-related property tax would be $1,052.42. This is a decrease of $33.42 from the 2021 tax year, which is also the 2021-22 school year, and a 4-year cumulative decrease of $52.36. Now let's change focus from taxes to the budget you'll be adopting tonight. The key items in the budget have been shared with you in previous workshops and presentations. The budget that was presented to you on June 21st has been adjusted to incorporate the second FEFP calculation and a final certification of tax roll. Other minor changes and adjustments will be made to fund balance as we continue to close out the 2021-22 school year. This is the district's budget in summary form. The general fund consists of 3 funds. The operating fund, which is the main fund where most expenditures are paid, the maintenance of plant fund, and the extended day fund. Board, for your knowledge, does not include anymore the millage, general fund millage that is sunsetting at the end of the 21-22 school year. Okay. In addition, tonight you'll approve budgets for the debt service fund, which is used to pay for outstanding bonds of the district, capital project funds, which is accounts for major construction and renovation projects, special revenue fund, which consists of grants and special programs, food service branded as Red Apple Dining, federal education stabilization fund, and school internal funds. Internal service funds, which account for the district's health insurance, property casualty, workers' compensation, internal leasing fund, and the print shop fund. The total budget for all funds is $1,051,074,341. Madam Chair, this is a time for public comment.
Board Clerk, do we have any public comment forms? Okay, no public comment forms. So, any board discussion? We'll go roll call order. Tonight's roll call is Member Kraus, Member Almond, Member Calderon, Member Sanchez, and then myself. So, Member Kraus, any comments?
No, I was able to ask Mr. Seitz my comments during review.
Member Almond,
No, thank you for a thorough explanation. Appreciate it.
Member Calderon,
Thank you to Mr. Seiss and your entire team for all the hours you've worked with all of us in compiling this detailed information.
Member Sanchez.
Just like to echo the same thing. Thank you to you and your team for everything you all do. Appreciate you.
All right, Superintendent, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, that the School Board of Seminole County approve Resolution Number 2022-03, adopting the tentative millage rates.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Superintendent, do you have a second resolution?
Yes, that the School Board of Seminole County approve Resolution Number 2022-04, adopting the 22-23 tentative budget.
So moved.
Second? Anyone second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition say aye. Motion carries, and that adjourns.
I just wanted to update everyone on this. The final public hearing on the 2022-23 budget will be held on Tuesday, September 6th, in 2022 at 5:05 p.m. in the same location. Board
Wonderful.
members, this concludes the public hearing to adopt the 2023 proposed millage and tentative budget. Thank you.
Thank you and your team, Mr. Cease, and this meeting is adjourned. We will see you at 5:30.